if you're trying to sell to something that you've never done before, it's gonna be very difficult because it's all based on the backstory, right? For me, the big question I had to ask myself when I first started my coaching business was, what version of me am I coaching and what am I helping that version of me overcome? Well, I've never been a pregnant mom before, So with that being said, let's get into it. Boom! One of my favorite lines in marketing is when you try and talk to everyone. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Daniel Francis, and in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the 3 questions to clarify your offer. One of the biggest things I get all the time is, Daniel, I don't know what my offer is. I'm trying to get very clear on it, and I know I want to coach people, but I'm unsure about having the right offer. I'd say the biggest problem with a ton of people is they're good at too many things, and then the problem is, one of my favorite lines in marketing is when you try and talk to everyone, you end up talking to no one, right? When you're great at everything, no one feels like you're talking directly to them. So in this video, there's 3 questions. I'm gonna be breaking them down more in depth. For you to really ask yourself, I'll kind of give you scenarios of myself, how I got clear on my coaching niche, and so you can apply the same principles. So with that being said, let's get into it. Boom! And my picture in the back just fell, so that's always fun. Okay, let's do it. So 3 questions to clarify, to get very clear on building an irresistible offer. So the first question you got to ask yourself is this, okay? So this is one of my lines. I've done probably hundreds, if not thousands, of coaching sessions around this topic, which is, what is my offer? Who do I help? How do I help them? So the first question you really got to ask yourself is this: what version of yourself are we coaching and marketing to? So the best person to coach is normally just a younger version of yourself. So let me explain. When I came out with my first coaching offer for stuttering, the person that I was coaching and marketing to, and I'll explain the difference, or what I mean by that is, I was looking at the 20-year-old version of Daniel who was struggling with his speech. And because of that, I knew that the biggest problem that version of me was dealing with was, how do I overcome my stutter? How do I overcome my speech impediment? So because of that, I then built an offer for that individual. So fast forward to when I first started my first coaching business, which was at 27, I knew that, that the last 7 years, that whole journey was to really overcome my stutter. I mean, earlier, but let's just say 7 years. And I tried to overcome my stutter through learning how to sing, through academics, through public speaking, through, learning social dynamics, watching TED Talks. So there was all this stuff, but the overview was, the biggest thing that I was trying to overcome was my stutter. And so I was trying all these different methods, and then I really looked in depth, and I realized that the thing that really helped me overcome it was when I learned how to public speak, and I was really getting myself out there. And so, and that kind of ties in with 2 and 3. But for me, the big question I had to ask myself when I first started my coaching business was, what version of me am I coaching and what am I helping that version of me overcome? So for me, it was to overcome stuttering. Now, when I talk to people, because a lot of what my current business is helping other coaches grow in the online space. And I basically just teach my blueprint of what I did, of now I got clear on my message, and now I can build a community, and then from there, come up with the marketing and be able to know how to sell and being able to actually have a great customer experience while they're in the program. But so who I'm talking to now is just basically me at 27 years old, which is, I have this, I have this urge to want to coach people. I'm unsure of exactly where I want to go. I don't have a big marketing background. I'm not that great with tech. I understood sales, from before. I know some people don't, have as much experience as I do in sales. How do how do I offer someone? How do I take a payment? Is there a contract, right? What how do I nurture an audience? So I go on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, podcasts, where do I go? And so now what I do is I am helping that version of Daniel who was struggling with his coaching business. And now fast forward to, myself being able to achieve $50,000 months within my stutter coaching business. I now have a blueprint. So I'm then coaching that version of me, whether, boy, female, man, female, male, female, age doesn't matter, because it's not about, I'm only talking to the 27-year-old version of Daniel who's a male from this area. No, I'm helping that version of me figure out how to build a coaching business. And so that is my avatar. That's the version who I'm talking to. So throwing it back to you, the big question to ask yourself is, what version of yourself are we talking to? Did you lose a ton of weight and now you want to help people lose weight? were you in a bad toxic relationship, you got out of it and you found a way to, fall back in love with yourself or find a new healthy relationship? Was it, I learned how to become, successful in real estate. I have one client who's a copywriter and he helps other copywriters, learn how to build a copywriting agency. I have a coach who's a DNA and epigenetics coach, and she basically helps people learn and how to optimize their genes, through understanding their DNA. I have a coach who's a dad, and he basically helps dads, break generational curses and become a thriving leader type role model for their, for their family. And so my point to you, the question you got to really ask yourself is this: what version of you are we talking to? Because I'll give you this perspective. If you're trying to sell to something that you've never done before, it's gonna be very difficult because it's all based on the backstory. Right? So for example, if you're trying to, I always give this example, I don't know if it's the best example, but for example, I've never been a pregnant mom before, So it'd be very difficult for me to coach people on how to be, on how to get through pregnancy, being a pregnant mother, right? So for example, I don't know what it's like in month 1, month 2, month 3, health issues, from an emotional level, from a mental level, from the stress things. I've never been through that before. What I've been through is I've had a stuttering issue. I was depressed at a very low point in my life. I had to figure out how to overcome this problem, and now I've been able to speak, in front of hundreds, if not thousands of individuals, and be able to, become thriving from mastering my communication so I can build a coaching program on that. I can't build a program on being a pregnant mom, right? And so the idea goes, what you have to ask yourself is, what challenge did I overcome in my life? And now how can I help others overcome that challenge? That was a younger version of me. And when you do that, because you're confident in helping yourself overcome it, you now have confidence helping other. I see the same thing whenever I see people who go, I want to help people build a coaching business, right? I go, well, what type of coaching business have you built before? Oh, you haven't. Okay, well, it's gonna be very difficult, because when a client hires you as a coach, the first thing I look at is, what has this person done before, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So that's the first big question that you have to ask yourself is, what version of yourself are we coaching? And then when you understand that person very well, then you can then build the marketing materials to attract the audience. So for example, my stuttering journey, I overcame my stutter. I knew what that version of Daniel struggled with, which is, the hardest word in his dictionary was Daniel. So I would say Daniel, right? If you didn't stutter, you would, maybe that wouldn't be a big part of your life. Going for interviews, being able to speak in front of a group, something that some people laugh at is going through a drive-through. There's these different challenges. So for you, again, the biggest question you have to ask yourself is, what version are we coaching to? Okay. Next one. The second thing that we want to go through is, what problems are we solving for that younger version? So 1 and 2, the first question is, what version of you are we coaching to? The second question is, what problem are we solving with that individual? So I kind of covered both together. But the first thing is, the version that we're selling to is a younger version. Which version? Are we talking to the 20-year-old, the 25-year-old, the 35-year-old, the 45-year-old, the 17-year-old, right? What age? The next thing is, what problem are we helping them overcome? So you have to understand this, right? The market pays to fix problems in their life. So there's 3 big problems. I mean, there's we can go into depths of other things, but there's 3 main markets that people that the economy spends their money in. Okay. First one is wealth. The second one is health. The third one is relationships, right? So for example, I'm going to pay a coach, or I'm going to buy this course to better my marriage, to find love, to learn how to date, relationship. You can go deeper down that road into different niches, but that's the overall thing. The second thing is health, right? How do I lose weight? How do I get fit? How do I improve my physical health, right? And you can also go down emotional health, right? And mental health, but it's the health market. Okay. How do I improve that area? The third thing is wealth. How do I make more money? How do I invest money? How do I save money? How do I, right? Like if you look at university, right? Or college, it's a business that says, hey, if you spend this much money for a degree, you're going to make more money, or you're going to make money in your field, right? Or you need to have this degree to make money in your field. So that's a form of, the colleges are selling to fix a wealth problem. If I'm a realtor, right, you're going to sign up for this real estate license to make money, right? So health, wealth, and relationship. And so you have to ask yourself, what problem am I solving for that individual? So for example, you take something like stuttering. Well, the problem with stuttering is like, is it health? Is it wealth? Is it relationship? Right? And it get kind of cloudy because you can have multiple things. But I've realized when it comes to really what stuttering is a niche, You go above that is communication, and then above that really is in between relationships and wealth, right? You can also talk about health, right? Because all three of them really attack it, right? You could say from a wealth level, well, if I master my speech, I'll be able to land that job interview, okay? If I master my speech, I'll be able to have more confidence in my emotional health, my mental health, right? If I go down the road of niche of relationships, I'll be able to have better relationships. So I knew that all three really tapped in. I had to narrow down what the thing that was most important for me, and what I realized with most people who stutter, you could say like, yes, they want to improve their mental health, their financial health. One of the biggest things is relationships. They want to be able to speak to others, to communicate with others. And so if you look at the term communication, a lot of it is under relationships, but again, this is a whole different conversation. But the point is that I knew the problems that I was, helping these people solve, which was to overcome stuttering, but then to help them really find a job, to find love, improve their mental and emotional health. Is this making sense? With my coaching business, it goes, well, I'm helping people build a coaching business, build an online consulting business, right? And so what is that? Well, that is a form of wealth. Basically solving, if I can show someone how to make $10,000 a month as a coach or as a consultant, I'm solving a problem of wealth in their life. And so you have to find, what problem am I solving? Remember, the marketplace pays to solve problems. Diet, right? There's this new diet. I'm solving a problem for my health. I am going to therapy, right? It's a form of, I'm solving a problem in my life, right? So you have to understand, what problem am I solving, and is that worth it for others to pay to fix that problem? And so, then you can go even depth into like, is my problem that I'm solving in someone's life worth it for someone to pay to fix, right? So for example, if I'm like, well, I show people how to hammer in nails, right? What is that worth to someone to fix or to learn, right? And then we can go into depth with how niche it gets into all different types of nails. There could be some hammer and nail enthusiasts who, want to learn the different types of hammers, different types of nails, and you can go down that road. But you have to really find out, what is the problem that you solve for someone, right? So, and is that worth? So to go back to my situation, I would ask a question like this to everyone. I would say, what's it worth to overcome your stutter, right? Is it $500, $1,000, $50, $10,000, right? $100,000? Put a price tag. Common answer would be, I'd pay anything to fix this. This is the biggest problem in my life, right? So I took on a big problem. For coaching businesses, right? If I could guarantee you a $10,000 a month coaching business, how much would you pay for it? Would you pay $50 for it, $100 for it, $1,000 for it? So if you're making $10,000 a month, right? I can guarantee it. How much would you pay for it? And so that is the thought experiment, right? Would you pay $5,000, $10,000? Would you pay $100,000? Well, technically, if you're making $10,000 a month after 10 months, if you paid $100,000, you're making now $10,000 a month. On the 11th month, you now start making $10,000 a month, and as long as you want. And so that's the mindset, that's the mentality to go into this, right? If it's health, what is it worth to lose all this weight? What's it worth to fix this problem that you have with a relationship with a parent, right? What's this worth to someone? And that goes, so you first off have to find, what is the problem? And you have to ask yourself, well, how much is that worth? So for you, if you're like, well, I have a couple career coaches that I work with, right? So the question that I always get my career coaches to ask, which is, what's it worth to find your ideal job? Or for example, you could say, well, you're making $60,000 a year, right? What if we found a job where it's $72,000 a year, so you're making an extra $12,000 a year, plus you work from home, or you find something that you're happy with, and I have a program that's going to help you get there. So what we're doing is we're trying to quantify what it's worth to solve this problem in someone's life. Is this making sense, guys? So again, number one is, what version of you are we trying to coach to? The second thing is, what problem are we trying to solve for that version of you? So for me, it was I was communicating to the 20-year-old version of Daniel, and the problem I was trying to help them overcome was to overcome their speech impediment and speak with confidence so they can accomplish these things. Okay, and the final thing is, the big question you have to ask yourself is, and this is where it gets it can get overwhelming, but at least you have a brief idea, which is, what is the 6 to 8 step path needed to accomplish the goal? Okay, so for example, now I just said 6 to 8, it could be 4 steps, it could be 8 steps, it could be 12 steps, right? I usually recommend, like, the sweet spot is between 6 to 8. But, for me, when I would work with someone, I would say there's a 6-step roadmap, or there's a 6-pillar roadmap to overcome your stutter and speak with confidence. So my last program was called Master Your Stutter, and there was a 6-pillar roadmap to overcome it, right? So basically what I'm doing is I'm creating now a yellow brick road is what I call it. So 1 was the mind, 2 was overcoming fear, 3 was learning how to speak with confidence and with the pillars of it, right? I can get into depth with each one, but I'm just giving you an overview. 4 and 5 was about public speaking, how to build a presentation and how to present the presentation. 6 was socializing. So there's a 6-step path to overcome stuttering, and that would be my pitch to everyone, you can call it. Where it's like, look, if you go through all 6 pillars and you get to the end of it, and if you don't feel like your speech is 10 times better, I'll give you back your money. That was the idea, right? So it's very similar to when I work with coaches. I go, the 6-step path, 1, 2, what is the principles and foundations? 3, what is the setting and sales process, or community building, setting and sales, and building a great coaching program. Those are the 5-step process to get them to the end result. So the end result for my speaking program was how to overcome stuttering, right? The end result with my coaches is getting to a $10,000 a month coaching business. So for you, the last question is what is the overall path? Right. And so I'll kind of give you some tips with that. But like initially, it's like you first have to handle the internal, then the external. So for example, when we start your coaching program, you have to handle more of like the mindset, the fear. And then, so let's say, for example, we built a health program, right? For someone to lose weight, right? The first thing is, step 1 is learning how to master the mind. Step 2 is like removing the baggage, which would be fear again. 3 would be having the right diet plan. 4 would be like exercise. 5 would be like building the right routines and building the right environment. 6 would be like, knowing how to create like long-lasting habits, right? So, that'd be an example, right? If I was in real estate, it would be like 1, having the right mindset, going into real estate and knowing, having all the emotions. 2 would be like learning how to like get educated on real estate or the basics of real estate. 3 would be like learning how to find deals. 4 would be like once you find it, how do you ask for it? How do you pitch for it? Or how do you negotiate? 5 would be closing. 6 and it would be relationship building, right? So there's a process that you have that is internal that we have to pull out. And so when you get very clear on these 3 questions, which is what version of yourself are we coaching and marketing to? 2 would be what problems are we solving for that version of you? So I'm learning how to do real estate. So the problem I'm trying to solve is close your first deal or close your first 10 deals in a year, whatever the case is, right? And the final thing is what is the step-by-step journey that the client has to go down to get the result? And if you actually go through this video with a fine-tooth comb and you actually look at each step and you answer these questions, I promise you will get so clear on who you help, what you help them with, and how you help them. And you do that, you'll get a rush of confidence, a rush of clarity. And then from there, then you can start having conversations. So hopefully this video was helpful. It gave you an overview. I'll be honest, majority of the calls that I do whenever someone books a call with our team, this is one of the biggest conversations I have off the bat. And so I've had many conversations where someone will go at the end of it and be like, oh my God, I had 45 minutes with you and my life has now changed. I know exactly what I need to do. And I've been struggling with this for the last 3 to 6 months. So if this video was helpful, awesome. Answer these questions. If you're looking for personal help, we offer free clarity calls. And so if you're interested for someone to look at your situation, you bring all these things. That's if you're gonna book a call with us, I definitely want you to answer all 3 questions. Jump onto a call, bring these to me or our team, and we'll kind of review everything and kind of give you feedback. If you're looking to potentially work with us, we can kind of break that down as well. But for us, we're big on giving value and helping you with your situation. So regardless, if you're interested in learning more, you can book a free call with us if you click the link down below. But regardless, I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully you're going to be applying this thing and hopefully you can get a new client tomorrow, next week, in these coming weeks, and finally achieve your dreams and goals. So if this was helpful, be sure to like, to comment, subscribe, show some love down below, share this with a friend, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.